Thank you very much, Bogdan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, this training is delivered by La Rochelle Université, not PDSO, in the framework of these trainings. It's La Rochelle Université is delivering the training today dedicated to writing grant proposals. So my name is Lucie Vossel. I work as a project officer at La Rochelle Université, but also it's true within EU-CONEXUS. I'm the head of the Project Development Support Office. Today, I am with two other colleagues from La Rochelle Université, Caroline Plumegeot and Lino Gruber, who will also be speakers for this training, for today's training. And I thank them for their participation and their presence. And they work as project officers at La Rochelle Université. So let's start. So please, if there is any technical issue, let me know. But in theory, it should work. What we will do today, first, thank you very much for joining us for this webinar, and we are really glad. It's true to see that quite a number of people registered, so that's good news. But for what? What will you learn today? So this workshop aims at making you know the main sections of a proposals, what usually you write in a proposal. What are the main sections? You will see, we will take basically the example of Horizon Europe proposals, but for those who know already those Horizon Europe proposals and the way they are structured, this structure and the main points of attention in a Horizon Europe proposals can be replicated in many kinds of other calls for proposals at European level, but not necessarily only at European level, but also at national level. This means that many other funding agencies base their evaluation criteria and the way they structure their proposal templates. They take the example of Horizon Europe, and it's very similar, so it will be useful for you anyway. You will also learn how to make your proposal successful through practical exercises. You will see it won't come only from us, but we will have interactive sessions. You will have the opportunity to answer a lot of questions through a tool we use called WooClap. You will see. And last but not least, you will learn how to make your proposal readable and competitive. That's the main goal, of course, to make you win funds, to make you get the best mark, to make your proposal selected. Hope it is okay for everyone. Let's start with a few questions for you. So you should go on wooclap.com. That's the application we use. And the code is AOIOHT. It is on the screen, displayed on the screen, and you will reach the application WooClap. We will use it through the webinar. So once you will be connected, please don't close it, because till the end of this webinar, you will have to use it. So I will wait a few minutes so that people can connect. Yeah, thank you. You have the link in the chat, the link to the application, as well as the code to connect. And I will switch my screen to share you the sorry. Oh. Just a few seconds. I hope everyone is connected. So once again, wooclap.com, and the code is AOIOHT in big letters. So let's start with the first question. Caroline, Lino, tell me if there is something wrong. Yeah.
No, we cannot see your screen. We cannot see WooClap for now. Yeah, nice.
Great. So the first question for you, dear participants, it's where do you come from? So you should add the small pin, sorry, on the map. Okay, great. We see the map being filled in. South of Europe, north of Europe, great. I see 30 participants who indicated their localization on the map. 31. Okay. Please join us on WooClap. Okay, 37. Okay, thank you very much. Let's move to the next question. Thank you for your answers. Next question is, how do you feel today? So you have to choose one of those characters that indicates in the best way the way you feel today. Yeah, I see people are in good mood. Okay. Very nice. Okay, someone is falling. That's dangerous. For newcomers, for those who just joined us on this webinar, you have the link to the application, WooClap, and you have the code indicated in the chat. That's great. Thank you very much. Let's continue. Have you ever had to write a research proposal or part of it? That's the next question. In this way, we will see who has a little bit of experience in this webinar in writing grant proposals or not. Okay, great. So yeah, around like 65% of participants have already had to write part of a proposal or an entire proposal, maybe. That's great. Thank you. You won't be completely lost today then. And for those who have less experience, you won't be lost either, because we will explain everything from, the start with vocabulary and all the steps, and some tips and tricks will be useful to you, for you as well. Okay, thank you. Next question. I managed to move it. If yes, if you have already had the experience of writing a grant proposal or part of it, what difficulties have you encountered? You have the possibility on WooClap to type keywords or your answers. Consistency, that's a nice keyword. Consistency, understanding what is required. Teamwork, very important as well. Oh, it's moving. Good budget, that's right. By the way, we will conduct another training on budget issues in a few weeks. Coordination, process. Okay, lack of experience, it's a difficulty, that's true. Not enough time. Impact, we will talk about impact today. Objectives, terminology, structure, cultural differences, contribution, goals, funding. Okay, partner, vocabulary, writing, matching the scope and theme. That's true. Teams, requirements. I feel like you are very inspired. Space, time, procrastination. That's fully true. Okay, fill all the forms. Understanding what is required. That's true. Convincing, consortial, possible business model. Okay, expectations. Thank you very much. Nice, like, cloud of words. It's still moving. Using specific words, matching scope and theme, I have already said. Okay, no guidance. No, you should have guidance. Okay, last question. For those who have already some experience in project writing, what piece of advice would you share? What comes to your mind when, like, delivering, if you have a colleague coming to you and say, oh, what piece of advice could you share regarding project writing or grant proposal writing? Participate in trainings. That's right. That's what we do today. Keep your mind open. Make it easily understandable. That's true. Do not be afraid if you fail at first. Always keep in touch with the team. The don'ts. Know about the structure required. Never overpromise. Look at the examples on the web. Although it's not easy to find full proposals on the web, I have to admit. Realistic. Don't leave for last minute. That's true. Write something that you could later achieve, not things that are not possible. Not procrastinate. Gather information about state of the art, about the subject. Very good. Managing budget is very important. We won't talk about budget today. It's not the topic covered by this training, but next time. Managing budget, yeah, okay. Understanding the topic of the proposal, stay realistic, bullet points for each work package. Very good. You have everything in mind already. So we will go through all those, like, advice with examples, and we'll explain you a little bit more what implies writing grant proposals. Thank you for this book lab session. I will thank you for, you're really active, I see on you on book lab. We will switch to our presentation, switch back to our presentation. Just a few seconds, technical issues. And I will give the floor to my colleague. Actually, we have the plan to go through the three main sections of a Horizon Europe proposal: excellence, impact, implementation. And please keep in mind that this is based on the structure of a Horizon Europe proposal, but those topic, excellence, impact, implementation, will be used also and will be present in other calls for proposals at national level or at European international level. Anyway, you will have to start with the excellence, and Caroline will tell you more about that in a few minutes. You will have to talk about the impact of your research in your proposals, whatever the funding agency is, and you will have to present the way you intend to implement your project. So those terms will be, like, explained to you during this webinar, so that you will understand better what is expected in that kind of proposal. And in the end, we will finish by how to market your proposal, some tips and tricks to make your proposal more readable and more competitive. So Caroline, I share my screen, and tell me if I have to move. Do not hesitate. So let's start with excellence part.
Hello, everybody. I'm Caroline Plumjot. I'm European Project Manager in La Rochelle University, and I'm going to introduce you first the excellence section in a project proposal and how to start writing. You can go, yes. Okay. An excellent idea is nothing without an excellent proposal. That it's the first idea to get in mind. You need to demonstrate how you excel in each single criterion. One of the most significant rules of this section is to present the novelty and the importance of the. It's actually the place where you have the first real opportunity to impress and intrigue the reviewers with your project proposal. Here are some questions that could appear very basic to you, but nevertheless, they are important. Are you the best team in the right place within the right purpose to address this call? Why should someone bother reading this? Is it interesting? And it is sound and clear. The first subsection within the excellence chapter refers to the objectives and the ambition of the research project. Your objective have to be clear and pertinent. And the second one is the place to present the project's concept and approach, as well as the selected methodology you will use to get this. So first, regarding the objectives, describe the clear, overall and specific objective is very important, as the reviewers are well informed about the topic description before reading your application. So be clear and to the point. Writing the main objective of this project is a perfect way to start. The reviewers will appreciate a clear answer to the first question they have in mind. What is this project all about? We recommend adding means of verification or indicators of achieving the objectives. This will enable measuring the overall performance of the project. And finally, keep in mind that the objectives are expected to be consistent with the expected outcomes and expected impact of the project. And to help you well presenting your objectives, you can use the SMART methodology. They have to be smart within the project duration. That means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timed. Then, establishing the knowledge gap is an essential step for explaining how the project plans to go beyond the state of the art in the field. It's the leap forward beyond the state of the art which will establish the project novelty and enable to present an ambitious project proposal. You should avoid missing the most recent and updated published work relating to your project, not only within academia, but also in other relevant sectors such as industry, if applicable in your project. In this part, you should compare and differentiate the state-of-the-art versus the project innovative approach. Focus on the shortcoming weakness of the current approach, how your project is better, of course, and underline the groundbreaking nature of your proposal. Also, you must understand the big picture of the project context. Of course, what are the policy, the strategy goals, the synergy? Make a table will help you to do that. You are required to clearly explain the innovative potential of your project in terms of breakthrough, new products, services, business, organizational models, and so on. So be sure to explain how your novel project provides solutions to the needs. Now, regarding the methodology, which is the second subsection, the methodology is the pathway from the big idea to actual results, which will achieve objectives. Describe and explain the overall methodology underpinning the project, and describe the concept, main ideas, model, or assumption involved. This since this subsection serves both at the heart of the excellence and as the bridge to the implementation part. It is expected to be exciting and highly competitive and detailed. One of the other subsections of this part is about the gender dimension. It is important taking into account the gender issue in project as well as in relation to the participant in the project or in the very nature of the research projects. And if you do not consider the gender dimension to be relevant in your project, you must provide a justification. Integrating the gender dimension in research and innovation is an added value in terms of excellence, creativity, and business opportunities. It helps researchers question gender norms and stereotypes to rethink standards and reference models. Also, it leads to an in-depth understanding of both gender needs, behavior, and attitudes. Yeah. Finally, it enhances the societal relevance of the knowledge, technology, and innovation produced, and it also contributes to the production of goods and services better suited to potential markets. And last, not the least in this part, is the open science notion. Open science promotes the dissemination of publication and research data to generalizing access to knowledge. You have up to 1 page to describe open science practices and 1 page to describe research data output management. What you should do, at least in this part, is to prepare a data management plan and keep it updated, of course, all along the project. Deposit data in a trust repository and provide open access to it. And provide information about any research output or any other tool and instruments needed to reuse or validate the data. And you can take some tips into account. So keep in mind that research data is a very broad concept and certainly not limited to numerical or tabular data. If you believe that none of these practices are appropriate for your projects, we said that before, provide a justification. But it's a rare case. You will need to do that most of time. And do not refer to outreach action plans since they are part of the impact section. Sorry. So you must manage the digital research data generated in line with the FAIR principles. So I don't then accessible. It can be accessed once found. Interoperable, data is downloadable, usable, intelligible, and can be combined with other data. And finally, reusable. It should be reusable for future research purposes. So to summarize this part, let's focus on only the positive points of good proposal. You have the why a proposal fail on excellence, but let's focus on why proposals succeed on excellence. So research is situated in the field and its importance is clearly stated. Expertise on credibility and effective risk management. A clear state of the art that links to the research, innovation, impact proposed. The research outcomes are specified. The research methodology is well described with a comprehensive planning. You give clear and well-defined objectives and clear state of the art. And you have a clear introduction and abstract. You must have really to focus on your abstract as it is the really first part, which is read by the reviewers. And to finish, alignment with funding requirements and criteria. Lucy, is it
Shall
you that?
Yeah. Shall I move to? I switch to Book Lab. There is a little quiz.
Yes, please.
Yeah, sure. I'm doing it now. Wait a second, just to share my screen. I let you read, Caroline. It's okay. I let you read the question. Or you want me to do it? As you want.
Yes, maybe you can do it because it's very small in my screen.
Yeah, okay. First question, what is one of the key factors that makes a project proposal successful? Based on what Caroline said. Yeah, okay, please. You can vote. So 1, giving a global goal. 2, a clear and well-defined set of goals that are smart. 3, a high budget with no clear allocation. 4, focusing on the needs of stakeholders. You can wait one more minute. I see that 34 people out of 54 have voted. No more answers. Yeah, little bit. Okay, vast majority of people answered 2, and that's right.
Yes, it's the correct answer. Actually, giving global goal is a correct answer, but as we said, you will have to give global goals and specific goals, and you must have to focus not only the needs of stakeholders, but really think to all the need to be done.
Next question. What does the M in SMART methodology represent? Measurable, manageable, motivational, meaningful.
Don't look on Microsoft Teams because they can see if all of us tends to answer to just one point.
Yeah, you mean you think I shouldn't share my screen, Bogdan? Because it's two people are influenced.
Maybe after the question would be more interesting.
Okay. Thank you for your advice. Then I stop sharing. And once people have voted, then I will you will see on your screen the result, I guess. So 35 people have voted. Let's show the result. Can you see the result on your screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, then I don't have to share, maybe. It's easier this way. You're right.
Maybe at the end, just to see the status.
Yeah, but it obliges me to switch, like, display, not display. And it's fine. Okay. Any comment, Caroline? The answer was measurable.
Wait, yes.
Next question. Then no, you won't be influenced by the answer of the others now. Thank you, Bogdan. So which of these is an example of a SMART goal? 1, I want to get better at managing my time. 2, I will complete the scientist campaign within 3 months and increase marine biodiversity by 10%. 3, understand climate change better. 4, I will read more books this year. Okay. 33 answers. Okay, let's show the answer. Final answer. 35. Okay. The correct answer is I will complete the scientist campaign within 3 months and increase marine biodiversity by 10%. It's really concrete with precise figures, with a precise duration. Sorry, go ahead, Caroline.
Yes, and in this objective, you have all the idea of the SMART methodology. This objective is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timed. So it's the right answer.
Okay, next question. Oops, sorry, I think I missed one. Yeah, sorry. What does the gender dimension refer to in a project? 1, projects focus on women's rights. 2, the consideration of how gender differences influence project design and outcomes. 3, the project's gender-neutral approach. 4, the number of men and women involved in the project. Okay, only 25 answers. I give the participants more time. Okay, 36 answer. Okay, I show the correct answer. That was 2, the consideration of how gender differences influence project design and outcomes. You want to add a comment, Caroline?
Yes, so I can see there is many answers, so maybe it was not so clear. Yes, the gender issues are in relation to the participants in the project and in the very nature of the research project. So it's not only how many men and women are involved in the project or to have a neutral gender approach, is really how it's going to match and with your project design and outcomes.
Next question. Get ready. Oh, sorry, I have okay, sorry. Which of the following is an example of an open science practice? 1, publishing research articles. 2, sharing data sets and research methods on dedicated platforms. 3, keeping research results confidential but published after commercialization. 4, using closed access data sources. Only 30 replies. Okay, let's have a look at the correct answer. Sharing data sets and research methods on dedicated platforms.
Yes, indeed, publishing research article is not sufficient. You have to do it on dedicated platforms, and you can do it all along the project, not only after the commercialization. And of course, it is open science, so there is no closed access data source. They are open access data source.
I think next and last question, right? What does, oh, sorry, I should stop sharing. What does the interoperable principle focus on in FAIR? One, ensuring data can be used by machines without human intervention. Two, making sure data can be easily integrated with other data sets, software or systems. Three, keeping data in a closed format that is unique to the project. Four, ensuring that data is available only in specific geographic regions. Come on, only 28 answers. Maybe participants are thinking. Okay, 34 answers. The correct answer is 2, making sure data can be easily integrated with other data sets, software, or systems. Any comment, Caroline?
Yes, data should be shared and reused, so they have to be interoperable. And once again, they have to be open.
Okay, I think that's it, right? That was your last question, or is there
Yes.
yeah, perfect. I leave it like that. And I get back to the PowerPoint. Thank you very much, Caroline. We will move to the next section of the presentation dedicated to impact. Can you see my screen or not? A bit like lost in the screens.
Not yet.
Okay. Not yet. Okay. Sorry, I have no, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry. Yeah, it should work like this. Does it work?
Yes.
Perfect. Great. So let's talk about impact. Impact is very often one dedicated part of a proposal that you will have to work on, and that you will have a part that you will have to describe in detail. But first, what is impact? The point is to assess the value of your project and to raise the following questions. What will happen after you reach your target and have results? What will happen once the project is through? What may be the next steps which extend beyond the project scope? And what will be the project's heritage? What will be after, what will stay, what will remain after your project is over? Those are really important questions. And most of the time, most of funding agencies, the European Commission, but not only, they pay particular attention to what will remain, what will be the real impact of your research project. Okay, but they know that your project duration is limited, the money you will need is limited, your project will have a limited time, a beginning and an end. So after the end of your project, the funding agency wants to make sure that there will be follow-up, let's say. Basically, it's like the way it works. and what we call like pathways towards impact. Those are the logical steps towards the achievement of the expected impacts of the project over time, in particular beyond the duration of the project. So it's exactly what I was saying. What will happen after the end of the project. So you should pay attention particularly to project results, to the way you intend to disseminate those project results, and the way, what you expect as outcome of your project or your program. You can basically divide impacts into different types, such as scientific impact, economic impact, and societal impact. Let's see more precisely what's behind those terms. First, let's look at what is the research output. Research output basically refers to the results generated by the action of the project to which access can be given in the form of scientific publications, data, or other engineered outcomes and processes such as software, algorithm, protocols, etc. So that's for research output. But now, what is outcome? It has to be distinguished from output. Outcomes, it's not as concrete output, let's say, and it's particularly over the medium term, when like results outputs are more like immediate. Sometimes during project duration or just right after, they will be available. Outcomes of the project, those are expected effects over medium term of projects supported under a given topic in a specific field. The results should contribute, those outcomes should contribute to, the results of the project, should contribute to these outcomes fostered by the dissemination and exploitation measures. So you have first the results, but then the results have to contribute to outcomes that are planned or envisaged more on a medium term. And you will be supported to do that by dissemination and exploitation measures that will foster the development of outcomes. And last keyword, it's really impact. Impact, it's after output, results output, it's after outcome, it's wider long-term effects on society, which includes the environment, the economy, the science, hence the types of impact. We talked about previously, I mentioned environmental, societal, scientific impacts, economic impact. Impact refers to the specific contribution of the project to the call and expected impacts mentioned in the call. In Horizon Europe calls, you always have precise impacts referred to in the call description, and the evaluators, reviewers expect you to really respond to the expected impacts mentioned in the call, and to plan in your work during project implementation specific actions to reach these expected impacts. Just this scheme on the slide, just to show you over time, the timeline of impact, basically. You have the start of the project, work is done, and end of the project. You will reach project results, project outputs during project duration, and by the end of the project, more or less. And then will come the outcomes on the medium term, to be followed by impacts that are planned on a wider term, on a longer term basis. Here we see the different types of impacts. You can have scientific impact, that means creating high quality new knowledge, strengthening human capital in research and innovation, fostering diffusion of knowledge and open source. Those are all like impacts related to scientific field. But you might have also societal impact. Those that will address policy priorities and global challenges. One social impact can be also like delivering benefits and impact through research and innovation missions, strengthening the uptake of research and innovation in society. And lastly, you have the economic or technological impact or impacts, that is generating innovation-based growth, creating more and better jobs, and leveraging investments in research and innovation. Those are more like classified under like economic or technological impacts. After talking about what is an impact, what are the different types of impact, let's move to activities that relate to the way you can reach impact, the way you can increase, let's say, your research impact. This can be done through communication, dissemination, and exploitation. You have here in this picture the different definitions corresponding to each term. And just quickly, just for you to know and to keep in mind, communication, the main goal of communication is promote your action and results, promote your project and results. It aims at raising awareness among citizens, the media, stakeholders, wider audience, okay? The idea is to inform, promote, and communicate your activities and results to a large audience. Then you have dissemination, and communication has to be distinguished from dissemination. Dissemination aims at making your results public. And not only to scientists, but it can be also disseminated to authorities, industry, policymakers, and other sectors of interest or civil society. When you disseminate results of your project to a public, generally this public will have a need, will be interested in understanding and using these results. So it's like really the idea of dissemination is to open results of your project. And then the last term is exploitation. The point of exploitation is to make use of results. It's to make concrete use of results for commercial, societal, or political purposes. It can be done, I mean, towards it can be done by researchers, but not only, also by industry, including SMEs, of course, or those that can make good use of your project results. So it can be also like public authorities, industrial authorities, policymakers, or different sectors of interest, or civil society even. Okay, so really this is really important to distinguish communication, dissemination, and exploitation. Those terms are different. We will see now an example of an impact section of a Horizon Europe proposal. So the first let's start with the specific needs. Here the example is the following: electronic components need to get smaller and lighter to match the expectations of the end users. At the same time, there is a problem of sourcing of raw materials that has an environmental impact. So what kind of expected results can we imagine? Can we plan that will be generated by the end of the project? Publication of scientific discovery on transparent electronics, for instance. New products, more sustainable electronic circuits. And maybe 3 PhD students will be trained. That's also an example of an expected results that can be reached by the end of the project. Besides that, you will have like dissemination, exploitation, and communication measures to enhance the effect of your results, of your project results. For instance, exploitation of the new product. You can imagine a patenting of the new product or licensing to major electronic companies. You can imagine dissemination towards the scientific community and industry, participating at conferences, developing a platform of material compositions for industry. You can imagine to participate at European Commission project portfolios to disseminate the results as part of a group and maximize the visibility of your project or of your results. To follow on that, let's see what, with the same example, let's see what would be target groups, outcomes, and impacts with the based on the same example and the same context. So example of target groups could be end users, consumers of electronic devices. You could have also as target groups major electronic companies. You could have also the scientific community working in the field of transparent electronics. As outcomes, so keep in mind that outcome is on the medium term. It's after the end of the project. So for instance, you could have like high use of the scientific discovery published, measured with the relative rate of citation index of project publications. You could have a major electronic company exploits, uses the new product in their manufacturing. And as impact, you could have a scientific impact, such as new breakthrough scientific discovery on transparent electronics. You could have an economic technological impact, such as a new market for touch-enabled electronic devices. And you could have also a societal impact, such as lower climate impact of electronics manufacturing. So this is an example. You will see if to which extent it was clear for you through another example, and you will have to make the match between examples and the vocabulary, the correspondence between the definitions and the vocabulary we've just gone through. You will see. So it's an exercise on WooClap. So I invite you to switch on WooClap. So I stop sharing my screen, and I will go on WooClap to open the next question. So actually, I will give you a little bit of more time. I think I can share my screen here because you won't see the answer. So we start from a specific needs. Most airports use process flow-oriented models based on static mathematical values, limiting the optimal management of passenger flow and hampering the accurate use of the available resources to the actual demand of passengers. These are specific needs as a starting point. Now you have 7 definitions or solutions provided that you have to match with a specific term. So, for instance, the first one, successful large-scale demonstrator trial with 3 airports of an advanced forecasting system for proactive airport passenger flow management, algorithmic model, novel algorithmic model for proactive airport passenger flow management. Do you think it corresponds to an outcome, or is it a dissemination measure, or is it a communication measure towards citizens? Is it an impact, or is it an expected result, or those are expected results, or is it an exploitation measure, or are these like target groups? And do you do the same for all the other definitions? So I leave you a few minutes to do that.
challenging this exercise.
Yes, indeed. We give you, I see like 21, 22 people have answered already. Can take 5 more minutes like to do it quietly. And I will comment afterwards. I have not mentioned, but there is only one option. So you can link a figure with a letter, with only one letter. There is no double like possibilities. Okay. "31 participants have answered. Shall we wait 1 or 2 more minutes to give more time to those who want to participate, to play?" Okay, 32 doesn't seem to increase anymore, so maybe I will share the correction unless like someone reacts in the chat. Give me more time. No. Okay. So let's comment. So the first, let's take the first one. Successful large-scale demonstrator trial with 3 airports on an advanced forecasting system for proactive airport passenger flow management. And there was a second part in this like short description, algorithmic model, novel algorithmic model for proactive airport passenger flow management. So it's that's really okay. It shows the results you. That's weird. It shows the results. Oh yeah, sorry. It shows. Sorry, my mistake on WooClap. It shows the result you provided, your answers, but I should show the correct answer. No, that's weird.
No, Lucy, it showed the correct answer. It's the correct answers, and
Oh
the
yeah, it moved
percentage
the.
is
Yeah,
the
yeah, exactly. Sorry, it changed the order, right? Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Sorry, I was confused suddenly. Okay, thank you, Lino. So this is an expected result. I mean, those are 2 expected results actually. A large-scale demonstrator on the one hand, and an algorithmic model on the other hand. Okay, 2 expected results. Those are concrete results that you will reach after the just at the end of your project. Then the second one, patenting the algorithmic model. It's an exploitation measure. Why? Because if you patent, it means that you want to protect your model that can be used, for instance, by private companies. So it's an exploitation measure. Then the third one, scientific publication with the result of the large-scale demonstration. It's a dissemination measure towards the scientific community and airports. Okay, it's dissemination towards a specific, it's not communication, it's not to a wider audience, it's specific, it's towards scientific community. Okay. The fourth one, an event in a shopping mall to show how the outcomes of the action are relevant to our everyday lives. This is communication towards citizens. It's less specific. It's not as oriented towards a specific community. It's, let's say, broad communication about the project, not necessarily about the results of the project, at the difference of, unlike dissemination. Okay? Then the number 5, 9 European airports, the European Union Aviation Safety Agency, air passengers. Indirect. What is indirect? It's target groups, right? Those are possible target groups. And air passengers, it's not as direct as the European airports, of course, or the European Union Aviation Safety Agency. Those are like more direct target groups that can really benefit from the project implementation. Then number 6, uptake by airports. 9 European airports adopt the advanced forecasting system demonstrated during the project. It's an outcome. It's on the medium term. Unlike the last one, new breakthrough scientific discovery and passenger forecast modeling, or increased airport efficiency with like 50% increase of maximum passenger capacity in European airports, leading to a 28% reduction in infrastructure expansion costs. Those are real impacts. You have a scientific impact, the scientific breakthrough discovery, and you have also an economic impact. Okay, so those are like 2 impacts actually, 2 types of impacts. Okay, I hope it's clear. Maybe it was challenging, but thank you very much for your participation. I will stop sharing this WooClap, and I will continue sharing the presentation, and I will. Oh no, sorry. I'm sorry, Lino. Just 1 second before. Just 1 second. 1 second before letting you the floor. I have one last slide sharing tips and tricks for writing impact section of a proposal. those are like big sentences, but keep in mind that you should have the expected outcomes and wider impacts stated in the call in mind. When you write, you should answer what is requested in the call. So please refer to expected outcomes and wider impacts that are mentioned in the call for proposals. You should be specific, and Caroline repeated it several times. You should state the target groups that would benefit. What are the target groups? For instance, the airports, the European airports, like in the previous example. You can also break the target groups into particular interest groups or segment of society relevant to this project to be even more specific. You should, of course, take time to define the outcomes and impacts of your project, taking into account what is requested in the call. You can also involve, during the preparation of your proposal, you can involve the variety of stakeholders to deliver widespread impact. And you can even think of like involving them in the project or even during the preparation of the project. You should quantify, mention baseline, benchmark, and assumptions to be reached now, to be included now when you prepare your project, but also what will be those like baseline, benchmark, and assumptions at the end of the project. So both like time have to be taken into account. And of course, include like dissemination, exploitation, and communication activities, because the reviewer will check the quality and suitability and concreteness of the proposed measures for your project during and after your project. And of course, identify your target groups for different measures. You will see that later with Lino, but sometimes it's really easy. It's really easier and makes the things more understandable for a potential reviewer is to present all those like measures, dissemination, exploitation, and communication measures in a table, in a specific table indicating the target groups, the measure, the target groups, and the expected results. And you will see that later with Lino. And I stop talking and I continue sharing. Lino, it will be your part. I've finished with impact section, and you will continue with implementation.
Thank you, Lucy. We can jump right into Book Lab again, starting with a quiz to get you more familiar with some key terms in the world of European projects. So we have a question.
Give me a go, Lino, when I have to display.
Oh yeah, you can okay. You can display. So it's the same type of exercise as the one Lucy made. It's you have to match some key terms to the right definitions. So you can share whenever you want. Okay. So you should see the 7 definitions, and you have to choose the right answer for each one of them.
I stopped sharing because otherwise the answers were visible, right?
It was not the it was the most frequent answers.
Most frequent answers,
Yeah, you're right. Maybe when we have like 20 to 30 answers, we can show it back and and discuss.
7 answers so far.
Thank you. Thank you, Bogdan. I know not everyone has answered, but maybe we can show the results anyway and discuss. Okay, so interesting. Most of you got it right. Almost 80 to 96% right in every match, which is great. So indeed, work packages are a coherent set of tasks, and we can call them major subdivisions of projects. That's correct. Then a deliverable is a concrete result of the project. Keep in mind that it needs to be meaningful with regard to the project's objectives. And deliverables also provide information, useful information to ensure the effective monitoring of the project. Then we've got milestones. Milestones are important stages of the project and control points, if you will. They help to assess the progress that you are making in your project. So for instance, if your project has started some time ago and you've gotten to a point where you are ready to go to the next step, because you've just completed a very important deliverable, for instance, this would mean that you have reached a milestone. A task, I'm sure you know, but it's a distinct activity that's needed to reach the objectives of your project, and more specifically, the objectives of the work package, because work packages are made up of several tasks. Then we've got also the Gantt chart, which we will mention a little bit more. But it's a tool that's used to show the project schedule. So at what point in time do the different project components appear? Project components meaning work packages, tasks, deliverables, milestones. All of them we can refer to as project components. The PERT chart is showing how all of these components interrelate, what the dependencies are between all of these components. Again, we'll mention that a little bit more right after. And finally, we've got a critical risk, which almost every one of you guessed right. It's an event that could happen during the project implementation, and that could have a negative impact on the achievement of the project objectives. I think we can go back to the PPT now. and see what we have prepared. Thank you, Lucy. We can skip this one and the next one as well. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, perfect. What is implementation? So what the evaluators want is for you to provide them with a well-structured work plan on how you will put in place the project activities or tasks, if you will, and how you will achieve the objectives. And you will also be asked to show that every partner you've chosen, but also the group of partner as a whole, have the expertise and the resources to make the project successful. As an applicant, you've got to ask yourself the following questions, which you can see on the slide. How am I going to implement concretely what's mentioned in the previous part of my proposal? When we say previous parts, we refer to the excellence, which Caroline mentioned, and the impact part that Lucy mentioned. So how am I going to implement all of this? Who will do what, when, and how? So next slide is about the work packages. Just a few words on them. Why have work packages? You might ask yourself. Having work packages allows you to do many things. First, it allows you to distribute the workload between the different partners in your project to ensure there's some kind of balance. They also help you define more precisely who does what, meaning which partner works on which work package, and more precisely which partner works on which task. Just so you know, each work package has a partner. It means that one of the partners will be in charge of coordinating the whole work package, even though some tasks within this work package may be taken care of by other partners. But it doesn't matter. Every work package needs to have at least one lead partner. Then work packages also enable to monitor expenses and efforts more precisely. So the unit that you usually use to measure the effort, the human effort, is person month or person day, depending on the duration of your project. And that enables you to see how much time the person responsible for a particular task will spend working on it. And then finally, it also helps you clarify what you concretely expect from your project based on the deliverables, because you will need to define deliverables for each work package. Usually you don't have a lot of them, but you have at least some deliverables for each work package, or at least one. Also, a side note, there are usually two main types of work packages that you can encounter. The first type of work packages is transversal work packages, which are usually there no matter what type of project you're working on. One is usually dedicated to project management, while the other one deals with communication and dissemination aspects. And then you've got what we call scientific work packages, which are really specific, and they highly depend on the nature of your project, on the research topic. If we move on to, yeah, thank you. The next slide, it's about the Gantt chart, which is, let's say, a graphic technique that's used to show the project schedule. And like I said previously, at what point in time the project components happen. If we take a look at these two examples to make it feel more concrete, we can see several things. First, we can see that the project timeline is shown at the very top in both examples. One is in days, while the other one is in months, but that's not really what matters. what really matters is that we see the different project components in the Gantt chart. And while we can see the work packages in both cases, the first one is really a better example because it shows, it provides the evaluators with more information than the second one. For instance, on the first one, you've got the name of each task, the specific name, the partner responsible for each task. In that case, you even have the completion percentage of each task, because Gantt charts can also be used during the implementation of the project, and not only at proposal preparation stage, which is why in that case you can see the completion percentage of each task. You also have different colors for each work package, which might seem like a detail, but it's always better for clarity. And you can also see the different deliverables expected at the end of each work package. And they are represented differently than the other tasks, which is also a good point. So yeah, this is a good example of what a Gantt should look like, because you can picture pretty easily what happens. The PERT chart, PERT is an acronym, actually. It means Program Evaluation and Review Technique. And it's basically a graph showing how the different project components are all interconnected. So this might ring a bell to maybe Bogdan, because it's an example from EU-CONEXUS Enables, the project. And so, as you can see on the example, the PERT can showcase the different work packages, but it could also feature the tasks, deliverables, milestones of a project, really any project component. The idea is to break down these components into boxes, as you can see, and to connect those boxes with arrows in order to show the dependencies and the overall logic and connection between them. So just remember that the intent of a PERT is not the same as the intent of a Gantt, because the Gantt is about showing the timing, and the PERT shows no indication of time, which is not really true in that example, but it's not the main intent. The main intent is to show the dependency between the different components. Okay, now moving on to the next slide, we can talk about something that's asked of you while designing the implementation of the project. It's to show the capacity of partners and consortium as a whole. This is something you will need to address in your proposal, and there are two main sides to this. The first one being insisting on what each partner brings to the table individually. So you will focus on their specific quality, their specific expertise, potentially previous relevant experiences, for instance, previous work in the same field as the one in the proposal, or a previously funded project, a European project maybe. And then the second side to this is establish the capacity of the consortium as a whole. So now that we know about the expertise of each participant, how do we ensure that all of them will manage to effectively work in synergy? So you've got several partners that are all great and on their own, but you need to show that they can work together. That's the idea. And so you need to show complementarity between partners. That's the thing. So you may move on to the next slide, Lucy. Thank you. So a couple of tips to show complementarity between partners. You can show that partners have different roles. They don't do the exact same thing in the project. Tasks are well distributed. The work packages also. For instance, if you have too many work packages led by the same partner, this wouldn't help you or help your proposal be successful, because you need to show that every addition, every partner that you included matters and is there for a specific reason. Another important thing is to have partners with expertise on transversal topics, such as social science, humanities, gender dimension, ethics, open science. This is always very useful to have those kinds of partners, even if every partner should know about these aspects. Sometimes you've got some experts in those aspects, which is always a good point. The access to facilities, equipment, the databases is also important. So you need to explain, for instance, that this particular partner has this particular equipment that's really important for the project, and that you will rely on it during project implementation. Geographic coverage is also something that you want to insist on, as it can give you access to study fields or target groups that you wouldn't have otherwise. Coverage of the whole value chain. In that case, you can show that you have partners from the private sector, from the industry, and it's something you want to look for, because it shows that you have plans for the exploitation of your project outputs results, as Lucy mentioned. And then one advice would be to have a summary table. As Lucy mentioned, also it's something that can help the evaluator picture more clearly what you want to achieve. So that's it for the implementation part. And the next part is about knowing how to market your proposal. So the first thing is why would you want to market your proposal? And these bubbles are all examples of inner monologues that any evaluator can go through when asked to evaluate proposals. So the first one says, I had 33 proposals to review, not in my field of specialty, 2 weeks to read all of those. So indeed, even if most of the EU funding programs try to secure evaluators that whose field of expertise are close to that of the applicants, it's not always an exact science. Sometimes an evaluator will have to assess proposals that are not in his exact field, his or her exact field, sorry. So he or she will have very limited amount of time to get familiar with this field, which is why you need to market your proposal correctly so that it makes it stand out. Then the second bubble says the key is clarity. Why is it important? Ambitious, clarity in the writing and in the objective. So the content of your proposal and the way you present the content need to be clear. Otherwise, the evaluators might not even bother. There's a chance they will just disregard the whole proposal on this basis, because, like I said, most likely they don't have the time to read every sentence of your proposal. Third bubble says, don't write 10 pages if I can get it in one picture. And we will get back to that later, but it's usually good to go straight to the point. Basically, just keep in mind the evaluators don't have time, so you want to make their job easier. And the last one is, as an evaluators, I want KPIs, which means key performance indicators. So I want indicators to illustrate the impact. I should not have to assess it myself. Again, this goes back to what Caroline and Lucy said earlier. You need to have specific indicators, and it makes your proposal feel concrete, and it's not the job of the evaluators to do that. It's yours. So this is why you need to market your proposal. Now, we would like to ask you, what would be your key recommendations to make a proposal readable? And you can write those on WooClap. You have, we will display the specific question. And yeah, you may write several recommendations, actually, if you have more than one. Graphic presentation, work with colors. Yeah, two very good points that we will mention, actually. Summary picture, okay. Visual graphics. Interesting topic. Yes, the topic you don't always get to choose, but okay. Visualization, avoid filler words. Visual graphics, art, graphics, Gantt, PERT, figure, differentiate, okay. Plain English, understandable, good structure, clearly visualized charts. Okay, this overall, you're all centered around visuals, structure, which is a good good inspiration, because it's mostly what we are going to discuss. What else? Short and concise sentences. Follow the template. Yes, good advice. I would give that same advice. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Those are all very interesting recommendations. You will see that many of those we will mention right now. So yeah, the first thing we wanted to mention is about the references. You know, you can and you will most definitely make references while writing your research proposals, and usually you have those mostly in the excellence part, especially when you mention the challenge or the challenges that your proposal will address. But there are different ways of dealing with references. I suspect you already know these kinds of things, but a must is having a reference list at the end of the proposal. And then in the text directly, you can either use superscript or write the references directly into brackets, which you can see on the example on the next slide. You can see, yes, two examples. So here's how it looks. The first example is with using superscript, so the 1 and 2 in blue. And the second example is with using brackets. Both of them work. It's usually a matter of preference, but if you have a huge number of references, you might want to take the first approach, because having superscript makes your text look linear and clearer, maybe. So yeah, but the two of them work. Then moving on to the next slide. Diagrams is something that that's good, because it helps you to go straight to the point, as mentioned in the beginning. Sometimes a picture speaks louder than words, and it's especially true in big research proposals, which are not the easiest thing to read in the first place. So wherever you can illustrate and have a diagram, we can guarantee that it will be appreciated by the evaluators. Another thing that will be appreciated is having colors, which is in the next slide. And a lot of you mentioned it, because diagrams are nice, but they could also feel a bit bleak sometimes if you don't have colors. So yeah, using colors helps the evaluator concentrate on the important parts of your diagrams. So for instance, it can help you insist on where exactly your project will contribute scientifically by coloring in these parts specifically. Then formatting. A tip could be to make the important sentences bold, or having thematic sentences at the beginning of each paragraph, or even tables if you can. All of these tips, they might seem a bit basic to you, but that's really not the case. And we have a few examples to illustrate how applying these tips can make your proposal stand out. So the first example, this is a paragraph about a project dealing with the topic of smart homes. And the aim of this paragraph is to recap how the proposal will be impactful for science, the economy, and society, which you will get if you read the paragraph. You will understand that. But this is a normal looking paragraph. It could work, but we cannot say that a lot of effort was put into it either. So let's look at the same content. This is the example, the same content, but with some little adjustments. So the difference is, if you look at this, there's no way that you cannot understand the intent behind this paragraph. It clearly appears because we've got the words scientifically, economically, and socially that really stand out. So is there a way to make it look even better? And it's example 3. Example 3, Lucy, is this one. So it's the same, but in a table. Because, as we mentioned, a table can do a better job at illustrating things than a paragraph can do. We let you be the judge, but it's pretty easy to read and linear than a normal paragraph. Then what you can also do is you use tables to do basically the job of the evaluator, which, believe me, they will greatly appreciate. For instance, if you've got objectives that are specifically described in the call for proposals, you could take those objectives, put it in a table, and illustrate how your proposal addresses every single objective, which is the example on the screen. And you can do the very same thing on the next slide with expected outcomes. No, not this one. No, previous. So the expected outcomes, you always have expected outcomes, especially in Horizon Europe proposals. So you can do a table like this one to make the job of the evaluators easier, because eventually he or she will have to see if your proposal addresses every single outcome. And if you already have that kind of table, he or she doesn't have to look for the answers. He'll have them right in front of him. And the next slide is about flowcharts. So what you can see is again a normal looking paragraph, but in the same manner that tables are used to make your proposal readable, you can have flowcharts which sometimes look way better than a chunky paragraph like this one. So this is the example of before and after with the very same content, but one way of presenting it is looks way better. It also makes sense in this context because a process is being described. So a candidate selection process is being described. So it makes sense to use a flowchart. It might not always be the case, but if it fits the context, you should feel free to use those, as it illustrates better than a big chunky paragraph. The next slide is about quantifying the impact and giving figures, which goes back to things that we already mentioned, but yeah, regarding the need to define indicators and give figures. So having a table like this one could do the job. It's easy, short, and it clearly shows what are your expected results, outcomes, and impacts, which goes back to what Lucy explained. So the results are during the project, outcomes right after, and results in the long term. And then finally, last word would be to keep it short. A research proposal is not a literary contest. You don't have to have flowery prose or complex sentences. Always go back to the basics. The evaluator most likely does not have the time to meticulously read every sentence, and he or she might not even be an expert. So you need to be simple, have short sentences, and go straight to the point. Yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you, Lino. Let's take 5 more minutes to conclude this webinar, this training on WooClap once again, with a few questions. And the first question is, what will you bring home after this session? Please join on WooClap and write what you will bring home after this session, what you will remember, what will you keep in mind after this session. Okay, maybe I share the terms on my screen. So understanding, proposal, components, seems to me that like, yeah, maybe this way would be better, sorry. Knowledge, actionable steps, impact, more tables, visualization, how to assess the impact, more clear understanding of the key components of the proposal, the need to work more with more visuals in my proposal and to structure it better, motivation, okay, graphic design skills, outcome versus impact. Okay, that's great if you get back with that. Graphic design skills are almost the most important. Yeah, okay, great. Smart model, ideas, WooClap smart charts proposal. WooClap is not something you can use in your proposals, but it's a useful tool to conduct trainings. That's right. Thanks to you. Wow, that's really nice. Okay. I see people like are still writing. The difference among terms that we always hear and never differentiate. Yeah. Don't keep in mind that we will, of course, share the presentation that will be done through our colleagues working on Enables project. Okay, let's move to another question. What are your remaining needs? Okay, you shared with us what you will keep in mind, what was useful for you, but what still what needs would you have? What remaining needs would you have? Time. Yeah, that's always like, it's like money. It's always useful. Better dimension of the time. How simple should I write? Interesting. Okay. Theory is given, now practice would be needed. Yeah, then write project, apply to calls. Experience, yeah. It will come through time. No worry. No worries. A little luck. Yeah. It has its role as well. Okay, practice, practical application. Yeah. Okay. And I think we have a last question. I don't think people are writing anymore. I move to the last question. Do you intend to use knowledge received in this session in the short term, in the medium term, in the long term? You can choose 2 or 3 options. Everything is possible. Okay. Yes. Few people in the short term, in the long term as well. Yeah, I think we agree with you, all right? At least I agree with you. You should like now put this knowledge into practice and start applying. There is at the moment at EU-CONEXUS level an open call called seed funding, where you can apply with an EU-CONEXUS partner. So we invite you to write a short proposal. It's not a complicated call, and it's open to any scientific field. Thank you, Lino. Okay. We will, yeah, I see people reacting still again. Thank you. We will let you breathe a bit, and we thank you very much for your participation. That was the last question we had. So thank you again. Do not hesitate to contact us. I mean, in case you have questions on what was presented today. Maybe yes, Bogdan, please go ahead.
I still 1 or 2 minutes to show the Gantt graphic that I use and I have for enables as an example.
Sure.
Okay, so I will
Interesting.
share my
Yeah.
my screen quick. Is visible?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
so
Yeah.
in this session you heard words as work package, task, deliverable, milestones. Here you can see the first 4 work package that I have in enables. You heard about work packages that are transferable. So the first one that I have is regarding to management. Under this work package, I have tasks, and you can see them graphic represented in the right part in this Gantt chart. Here you have the months. For this tool, we use open project platform. You can see the years. Each year is divided in 4 quarters. With the more intense blue, it's represented the work package, then the tasks. And here with orange rhomb, we have the deliverables. And with yellow rhomb, it's represented the milestone. All of this in the timeline representation. Here are the dates, the deadlines for the work packages or the tasks, the duration, and I can add more features on this representation. Here I can create an work package, a task, and this platform has also the options for activity to design even smaller steps than tasks in this in the Gantt chart.
Bogdan,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. It's used with a specific software, right?
Yes.
Not,
so
yeah.
all these features are provided by a platform, but there are many options. If you have to manage a project, you can use, there are many solutions, depends on the organizations, what they license have, or you can make it also in an Excel sheet.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to work a little bit more to, let's say, automate it, or yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a representation of few words that we learned today as
That's true.
work package, task, deliverable, milestones. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much. That's a nice example. That's
Yeah.
true.
Bogdan.
You can have for each position. If I press, we have details where you can describe the evolution, the complete, and other points to assess the work and the status. Yep, we have. I think it's enough. We are almost close to the end. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bogdan. Thank you for this example. So we wish you all a very nice end of the day, and we hope to see you again in a next training. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you, Bogdan.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you.